For 7 long years, I've traveled with Yu-Gi-Oh! I think I've been able to draw the themes I've wanted to express, but as I end the series, my main concern is whether I've transmitted my message to readers. From the moment Yugi put together the Millennium Puzzle, the other self appeared in his heart. The time needed to explore 2 main characters turned this into a long series. In our daily life, we never get to see ourselves, except by standing in front of a mirror. But even a mirror won't reflect our hearts. The main characters of this work won the courage and strength of will to face each other's hearts. As we go about our lives, we touch people, we see people, and interact with them. And in doing so, we feel and think many things. Sometimes we make others happy. Sometimes we hurt them. We sympathize, and we disagree. In the midst of this, we learn that people's thoughts and feelings are not a one-way street. You may say that's basic and natural, but I wanted to show just that interaction, so I used games. The games that the characters played were not played facing monitors, but facing other people. The opponents they played were the mirrors that reflected their hearts. In a basic sense, they fought each other's spirits. Because this was a manga, it was deeply colored by the battle between good and evil. But I think the basis of the game was to clarify what lies between people. I think this was the reason that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game became so successful all over the world. In my mind, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been completed, but throughout the world, many people are taking my work and the cards in their hands. In gratitude for that, I'd like to prolong the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! For just a little while longer. I borrow the end of this book to thank all of those who have participated in this world. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Kazuki Takahashi, April 14th, 2004. Kazuki Takahashi was a man that many people knew the work of, but not the being of. The personality beyond Yu-Gi-Oh! Is something that people are just now coming around to learning about. In 2003, Kazuki Takahashi dedicated a page to denouncing the Iraq War, stating, "In the distant future, when we are long gone, I hope that everyone can live together in harmony, without races or borders." In 2019, headlines went out around the globe when Kazu made this wonderful piece of art to urge Japanese citizens to vote against the Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe. You may know him more for his collaborations with other artists, like when Atem showed up in Yoshio Sawai's manga, Bobobo Bo Bobobo, for a funny gag, or the art swap with Hellboy's creator, Mike Mignola, or the countless other pieces he's made that inspire joy in fans of almost any media you can think of. Even in the later years of his career, years after the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Ended, he came back and hand-animated a scene from Dark Side of Dimensions, the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie. One scene that many point out for possibly being the best piece of Yu-Gi-Oh! Animation ever made. A decade removed from the original manga, Kazu not only could still draw a perfect Yugi, he could animate it better than anyone else. If you played the card game, you'd know this better than, well, anyone else. Special Kazu arts exist for many iconic monsters, like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon, or my personal favorite, Gyoko Tennomogami. They were all created for the 10th anniversary of the game's history. He's made so many arts for this game, directly providing the picture to the card, or the inspiration through an incredibly well-detailed manga. On that note, I'd like to show a tweet that describes exactly how I feel about it. Kazuki Takahashi loved games, horror movies, extravagant designs, and had a deep fascination with Egypt. The fact that he combined such various worldwide influences into an iconic and timeless piece of urban fantasy shonen manga speaks more to his ability than I ever could. For those unaware of the more horror-inspired elements of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s earlier days, Kazu had a skill for drawing detailed imagery to inspire fear in the reader, to the degree of Junji Ito. This icon could have been a world-class horror mangaka, but instead broadened his horizons and introduced his crazy world of Millennium items, Egyptian spirits, and deadly trading card games. Kazuki Takahashi is possibly my greatest muse. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has intertwined with my life, inseparable from the videos I've made from pure infatuation with the game and the anime and the manga. Regardless of if you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively, casually with your friends, or with your grandma who just rolled with whatever you were saying because neither of you knew what was going on, Kazu is the main driving force for those memories. And thanks, Grandma. I didn't know what Big Core did. I was just 7. and I really liked big spaceships. Whether you've watched the anime, read the manga, gone through every era, or just stuck to whatever time you started playing, whether you've bought, sold, traded, whatever you've done, this man has brought us all together. His designs keep evolving, yet still feeling like him. He kept improving and wanted us to as well. As people, as friends, as a community. He taught me critical thinking skills from a young age, to open up as a small child and to appreciate a culture I'd never even known about. For many others, he was an inspiration to learn how to be an illustrator. Miyukiko shows their ascent to where they are today, a professional artist. They say Kazuki Takahashi was their biggest inspiration, and I wish them nothing but success in continuing on a legacy of one of the greatest artists who ever lived. Even beyond the card game, Kazu was a huge fan of everything from the 90s. There's an entire thread I'd like to read, as it does exemplify something that many people don't really think about when it comes to his legacy. His unfazed desire to connect with people. When I think of what made Kazuki Takahashi's work resonate, it was how in tune he was to the changing culture of the 90s. In his manga, Duel Monsters / Magic and Wizards was just the game everyone was playing at the moment. One of many that were a medium for people to see into each other. We see countless fads from the late 20th century on display. Karaoke, hidden camera TV, fortune telling, digital pets, gachapon toys, arcade fighting games, laser tag, yo-yos, love testers, game shows, tabletop RPGs, step rhythm games, and of course, trading card games. Such things are easily dismissed as frivolous, but Takahashi celebrated that frivolity as a way to learn more about people. Anzu's love for dancing, her feelings for the other Yugi, Jinoichi's struggle with his father's gambling debts, and the antagonist's darker motives. Kazuki Takahashi is someone I've held in very high regard for the work he's done in my life, and for connecting me with the people I care about. I wouldn't have met my wife if it weren't for Yu-Gi-Oh! That's how much this children's card game has influenced me. How much a manga, an artist, a good man has done for me. I hope that this was a good, succinct celebration of someone who I looked up to for years on end and still will continue to respect dearly. This was really hard to make, but I needed to get my thoughts and appreciation out there. Funnily enough, one of my favorite characters sums this up pretty well. And even though his stay wasn't as long as we would have liked,
we're lucky we knew him at all.